So in this video, we're going to dig into a little bit of the jargon that comes with Google Ads and bidding in particular. Let's start with CPM. CPM stands for cost per mille or cost per thousand. This is how TV and radio and outdoor have been sold for decades. Essentially, how many eyeballs are we going to put on your ad? How many people are going to drive past this billboard? How many people watch this TV show? And we're going to price the ads accordingly. Now, you don't really need to worry too much about cost per thousand or CPM. You might use that bidding option if you're doing display, but we've said we're going to park display for now. We're just focused on search. And CPM isn't an option in search. Instead, what we're going to use is something called CPC or cost per click. Now remember, with the Google system, we only pay money to Google if and when somebody clicks on one of our ads. At which point we are going to pay for the click. So cost per click, that's the whole game we're playing. We decide roughly what the maximum we're willing to spend per click, and Google will roughly spend around that amount. As I said in the last video, it might spend a bit less, it might spend a bit more, depending on a whole bunch of factors that you don't need to worry about. So that's CPC. Then we've got CPA or CPL, cost per action, sometimes cost per acquisition, and CPL is cost per lead. Essentially, that's the outcome that we're focused on. How much does it cost me for somebody to fill out the form on my website, or for me to get a phone call from the phone number on my website? So if we're a lead generation business, we're probably going to talk in terms of CPA or CPL, simply the cost of getting each lead. Let's keep the maths nice and easy. Let's say you're spending on average $1 per click, and you have a 2% conversion rate. In other words, 1 in 50 people fill out your form, then your CPA is going to average out around $50. You've got 50 clicks for every 1 person filling out the form. Tweak your website a little bit, improve your website, and get a conversion rate of 10%. Now it's 1 in 10 people. 10%, 1 in 10. We spent $1 on each of our 10 people. 1 of them converted, 1 of them filled out the form. So now my CPA has come down from $50 down to $10. So that's CPA or CPL. And then the last little bit of jargon we have around bidding to worry about for now is ROAS or ROAS. And that stands for return on ad spend. Now this is a metric that you're going to use more if you're an e-commerce business. And this is simply the total amount of revenue that you get in divided by the cost of making those sales. So if you spent $100 on Google Ads and you made $500 in revenue, then you have a ROAS of 5 or 5x. In other words, for every dollar I tip in, I make $5. If you spent $1,000 and you got revenue of $7,400, then you have a ROAS of 7.4 or 7.4x. In Google Ads, you're not actually going to see a column called ROAS, just to make it a bit more confusing. You're going to see a bizarrely named column called conversion value divided by cost, because that's how we got to the calculation. Conversion value, revenue to you and me, but in Google's geeky terms, this is the total value of all of the conversions. And don't worry, we're going to talk a lot more about conversion tracking in a future module when we get to talk about measurement. But it's conversion value, the total value of your conversions, the total revenue, divided by the cost of getting them. And that gives you this number. Maybe it's 3x, 5x, 7x, 22x, whatever it might be. How much money do you make for every dollar that you tip in? For now, you're probably just going to need to focus on CPC and CPA. But if I use CPA, CPL, I may use those terms interchangeably. CPC is the bit that you choose that affects those other metrics. So you choose how much you're going to bid, and that in turn determines how much you end up spending to get each lead or to get each sale.